I'm curious about the developer's feelings for scalability. For example, could the system handle 1 million users a day, doing 5 transactions each per day? 5 million transactions per day is roughly 35,000 transactions per 10-minute period. What are we going to do? Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network, and I'm joined by Jamie Nelson. How's it going, Jamie? You're still muted. Got to unmute. But Jamie's book looks way better than mine. Is that a chocolate book?
Oh, yes. We were reading up on how to make German chocolate cake.
Mmm.
It's going to be delicious. Maybe we'll do our own World Crypto Network chocolate cake.
I've been saying we should do a cooking show or a recipe show for a while now, but the only trick there is I should not be baking any or cooking anything. Keep me away from it. But we're
I
covering
can boil water,
boil.
and then I get the water boiling, and then I pour frozen corn into it until that boils, and then I time it for 2 minutes, and then it's cooked.
Revolutionary corn techniques from Jamie. We're watching the Scottish independence movement live on the internet. This is live at new.livestream.com. The username is Independence Live, and we've got it out on our Twitter account if you want to follow it. It was recently retweeted to us by some Scottish friends of ours. And this situation previously, I can describe it only as kind of a hippie peace rally. They were playing songs, they were doing poems. It was very peaceful. They actually said they wanted to keep it peaceful. If you see someone being non-peaceful, to turn your back and to separate them. But that's starting to change a little bit there, as you saw that man walking up to the policeman and confronting him. There seems to be a line of yellow-shirted policemen. I'm not sure what they're there for, but they're probably thinking what I'm thinking. If you're thinking, what's the worst thing that could happen here? Well, let's say they lose the vote on the no, and then there's a huge riot, and these police that look like United Kingdom type police would have to enforce the riot. This is a shot of the gentleman himself, the Independence Live. So we'll go back to him, see what he's saying live, maybe.
To get into independencelive.net because our computer's full of viruses. She's got a new computer, but she still uses the old one. I don't understand.
It sounds like his girlfriend perhaps is having computer virus problems, so she can't get into the webpage. The policeman is telling him to move along. We don't expect and we hope that this will not develop into any kind of a negative situation, but we are monitoring the Scottish independence situation via this live stream in this new era of internet. We're joined by Theo Goodman. Theo, how's it going? Still muted, not ready to be called on, but otherwise.
Hi, I'm ready now. Sorry, I'm good. I'm trying to find some updates on what's going on. Is there a tally yet, or is it still unclear?
It's unclear. I've been watching this live stream. I'm also not sure, quite honestly, what time it is there. They keep saying that the vote.
I can tell you that it's 9 o'clock there. It's 9 p.m.
Okay, so the polls have closed.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's pretty late for a poll to be.
For me, it's been a difficulty to understand when tomorrow is. Like they say the election was tomorrow, or they say it was today, or because the times are so different for me here.
Yeah, because you're in Pacific, right? So okay, so it's 9 p.m. there.
It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here, so they're 8 hours ahead of us. So, but does the vote start tomorrow? Like, is this the beginning? I think.
I thought today was the voting day, but I'm not. To be honest, I have to check because I saw so many tweets about it today that I thought today, and there's so many people on the street. I guess that's the day. Probably tomorrow is the final tally because it's so close. I mean, all the stuff I've seen, it's been like 50-50 pretty much. 51, or one other report says 51 for the other side. So I think it just depends on. More or less what camp that media outlet is in, but all the people are saying that it's really close. So, I mean, I'm wondering, like you said, I just caught the end where, what if it's a no vote and then the British-looking cops have to enforce something that could get kind of hairy. But, I mean, even if this is really close now, then there'll be another vote probably. I mean, it probably will, require the politicians to get in order. I think that I'm not 100% sure how how the Scottish Parliament works, but I assume that you can call for an election or a referendum if you have enough votes in the Parliament. So it's not like in America. Well, I think you could do something like that in America, but it's a different system. And the Parliament has a little bit more power than the Congress in America, I believe. And I think that you could. So now we're seeing it's close now. So unless the economy in UK is booming and everyone is all happy because they're rich suddenly because they have pound, or the pound explodes or something, then I don't see another reason why there won't be another vote if this one is not successful for the Independence Party, unless they lose popularity due to the no vote. But I think
my understanding that this vote was a special favor given to them by Prime Minister David Cameron, and that he didn't think that it would get this close. He was kind of like, well, I'll give you this vote in a few years to quiet you down, and it's actually backfiring in his face hugely if they do go independent. So
okay, so I just got informed that by someone in Scotland on Twitter that they vote tomorrow. So it's not today. Everyone is already going nuts. So
yeah,
I'm gonna try to get him, the Divine Celt. I'm gonna try to get him in the chat because that would be really good to hear someone, on location. Let me see if I can get him to join us.
So this rally is a pre-rally because that's what they were talking about, and they were talking about how they're going to have the vote tomorrow. And again, I was impressed at the number of people that they've put into the square already a day in advance for a pre-rally. If you look at this again, well, we've gone back to the cameraman, but they do have an impressive number of people in the square. They have been people trying to talk to me at the same time, and it's been peaceful, and I hope it stays peaceful. But we are watching the situation. So what else is going on, guys?
Well, I thought go ahead, Theo.
In the meantime, the Bitcoin price is crashing. So I don't know if that has any correlation or whatever, but I mean from a non-news-driven point of view, it's just this support line of 460 dollars was broken today at Bitstamp, and now it's falling. And I think currently it's at well, I've got BTC up. I don't know how much it is.
448 on Coinbase right now.
Okay, I'll check it out. But I mean, just from we might have people call in that are getting worried about the price. I don't know. I mean, it'll surely shoot back up, but I'm gonna take a look at the charts and see if I can predict the future or something. But yeah, I think that's going on at the same time. So I don't know why it's crashing. I don't know any particular news. Do you guys, specifically, except Apple and the PayPal thing? But besides that, there has been no big news. There is one thing that a lot of speculators are talking about, and that is something called Nubits. And that has to do with Peercoin. So Nubits is, well, that's the kind of thing I don't like about it, is that they're not really saying exactly how it works. The white paper is going to be launched, I think, on the 23rd, which is next week. Excuse me. And I believe it's released at the same time. And so before the big price crash of about $10 or $20 now in Bitcoin, the Peercoin price shot up a whole lot, and yeah, people are talking about this whole Nubits thing. But I think that's basically something. I mean, the thing that I also am skeptical makes me. I really like what I hear about the innovation part of it, but what I don't like is they say, "Oh, we're going to solve the price problem of cryptocurrency. We're going to solve the problem of the price fluctuating so crazy that the cryptocurrencies are not stable." And I am really okay. And they don't say. And I just asked them on Twitter how, and they said white paper released on 23rd. Okay, that's a good job of getting everyone's attention, and we're all waiting for it. But just say you don't have to wait like that to release. You could just tell me in general how you want to do it. So I'm really wondering what that is. And the reason that what we do know is that somehow people that have this thing called Nubits are going to get it's based on the Peercoin system, perhaps on the Peercoin blockchain. If anyone knows, they can comment and correct me. But they get paid dividends in Peercoin, so that's why people are speculating that, oh, that's going to make Peercoin really valuable. But I don't know. So it's kind of weird. At the same time, Bitcoin has been dropping, Peercoin and Namecoin have been shooting up, but that's only in ratio to Bitcoin. So I mean, I haven't worked out the math, but I mean, it could have been that it just kind of held its value more or less. Anyway, that's what's going on in the markets. I don't know anything else going on particularly. You guys?
Well, the nature of currency is to fluctuate between each other to make something to stabilize it. I mean, there's talking specifically to fiat, which fiat is designed to deflate.
Yeah, I mean, there's big discussions on more than one message board about the whole inflation, deflation, currency versus money, and endless discussions and a lot of trolling going on because it's a good discussion and we need to have those discussions. The trouble is that on a lot of the message boards, because people have vested interests in their position on, okay, I've got this coin or I've got this project and our project is deflationary or our project is and Bitcoin is inflationary because of what's going on and so forth, and it just gets really crazy. But I don't know, can you explain more about that inflationary deflationary theory for us, Jamie? Maybe you can explain it better than me. I mean, I know what you mean, but I'm not as good as explaining that particular point, to be honest.
Well, because of the way that fiat money is structured, when governments borrow it from a central bank to begin with at an interest rate, it's being borrowed at, it's a loan that the taxpayers are paying back, so it's debt-based. So pegging, I mean, when we compare the price of, say, Bitcoin to the dollar, we're just, that's what it costs in dollars, but it doesn't mean that that's the only thing Bitcoin is worth is dollars. I mean, we could just as easily, it's just that right now everybody uses dollars as the base currency around the world. So that's just the most common thing.
Yeah.
But if everybody used sheep as the form of currency, that's what we would be comparing Bitcoin to. You know, a Bitcoin is worth 3 sheep today.
Sure, of course. That's about the, base currency and all that whole discussion, of course. I just mean that I think as soon as you start, if there was like, that's a discussion point. So if there was interbank loaning, then theoretically you could have inflate. If banks loaned each other bitcoins on a day-to-day basis, then you could have an inflation happen, and they might not. I don't know. That's an interesting thing because I mean the question is, would they really be sending each other bitcoins, or would they be sending each other promises of Bitcoin? And that's where the inflation would happen. You see what I mean? That's like what goes on now, because they don't really send each other cash, And so that I've had this discussion with some people, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Bitcoin could be inflationary. It's not part of the protocol or all that. It's just about how people would agree to use it, and they could agree to use it in a real inflationary way. And that's something that could happen.
Like all the commodities and everything are sold in 3 months ahead of time. So when you buy, say, a gold stock or whatever, or when they speculate on those prices, they're selling stuff you're buying something that's not happened yet. It's a 3 months into the future.
Sure. Well, they've already had that in Bitcoin. So CEXIO doesn't offer it anymore, but they had for a while, their gigahashes, they were offering future gigahash, and it was already traded. So they had, I think they had 8 this year. They had 8 in February and March. They had something called A gigahash, and that was April gigahash. And it was, you get it, the delivery of this gigahash starts at like 15th of April, and they had May gigahash, and I think that started on the 15th of May. But you could trade it already. It just didn't mine for you yet, you know. And so that was kind of just, it was just like you described, trading on, it didn't exist yet, but you were trading on a future, and you didn't know how much it would be worth because you didn't know how much the difficulty would be, and you didn't know how much the how much Bitcoin would be. But let's see.
And that's how people make money in the currency markets for traditional fiat currencies. You know, like I had listened to a thing the other day about a guy, he was shorting Japanese yen, where he has his house loan in Japanese yen, but he gets his rent, he rents the house out to people in US dollars. So the yen is inflating very fast right now, but the dollar isn't inflating as fast. So when he pays his mortgage in yen, it's a set rate. So the yen is at a set rate, which is worth less and less dollars each time. So basically, he's getting the same amount of rent every time in dollars, but his mortgage payments are going down because of the value of the yen is deflating or is inflating. Does that make sense?
Well, he's pretty clever. I mean, that's, you know, he's more clever than I am. I don't have to, but I guess if I had a business and it was really important for the currencies, then sure. I mean, big international corporations, they have they buy insurances on their currency, so that people that have to, you know, transact in euro and dollar and all these other currencies. A lot of the companies, they make deals with who they're doing business with. But going back to the crypto world, I see that let's see what I see in the charts. I see that BTC is at 437, and Bitstamp is at 446, and it looks like the RSI indicator just went down a whole lot. So I don't know. That might mean that it'll keep going down. It doesn't predict the future, but it just shows you the relative strength index. And when that's really low, well, right now it's oversold, so a lot of people have sold. But it could get lower. It was already as low as 10 something today, and that's, oh no, it was I'm looking at the chart now, 7 something, and that index.
7?
No, that's, I'm talking about an indicator. It's kind of technical. I can put it on my screen.
Okay.
But it just is something called a relative strength index. I mean, you should take everything with a grain of salt, but it's just what it says, relative strength index, and it's a number between 0 and 100, and most of the time when it's below 30, then you say it's oversold, so too many people sold. That probably would be a good time to buy. And when it's above 70, then it's overbought, and probably too many people bought, and now it's going to go down again. And you can look into history, and that's pretty much what happened, but like I said, you don't know exactly when it's going to shoot up. That's the whole thing, but you can it can just give you a kind of another opinion on what's going on in the market. So it looks like a lot of people, there is some buy support, but I haven't tried to read the walls. So
it does look like we're going down some more. The article I read said be ready for a possible floor around 412. So mainly just technical trading. I don't know if there's any news to tie into this. It's just kind of a continuation of the negative trend that we've been on. They thought we were breaking out of it, but now they're saying that be best prepared to anticipate eventual decline to 412. This is from CryptoCoinNews.com. Of course, they can't see the future either, so
I don't know. I don't agree. I don't always agree with CCN's technical analysis, but everyone has their own opinion. This is the chart that I like, the one I'm showing. I'm just joking. No, I think that it looks like Well, it depends on what. I don't know what exchange he was talking about. I mean, if he was talking about BTCE, he might be right, or
Yeah,
she.
I think they're
Voted.
talking BTC.
Yeah. Well, I think that
They say
to be.
Bitstamp, but yeah.
Well, I think Bitstamp might get down to 430 or 420. That's my prediction, but I might be wrong. But
Well, I
well,
would see it
yeah. What
being
do
in
you?
the bank's best interest actually to have bought a bunch of this in for the Scottish independence thing to scare um, Scotland into not considering a cryptocurrency for a national currency. And
That's it. I like that conspiracy theory. That's
Yeah, I
great.
think it would be easier for them just to buy the Scottish independence vote, and there's going to be advocates of that as well. So we'll see how that goes. If you'd like to call in right now at 1-516-900-4WCN, that's 4926. It'll ring right here to my phone. Or you can Skype us at World Crypto Network, all one word on the Skype. Either one of those will ring. Otherwise, I've just got some news stories here, so we're going to go through some news. So hang on. Our top story today is, of course, Scottish independence. Polls open tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. With a simple X in a box, we can build a better Scotland. Maybe. And we also had this great tweet from Paul. Paul writes, "Ah, the beauty of multisig. My signature before my girl can make the purchase of 5 pairs of shoes from our wallet." Very good, Paul. Top
So,
story. You want to go?
top story. Go on. Top story.
We'll talk about this one though. Top story: vilified Bitcoin tycoon after losing 500. That's some crap writing. After losing 500 million, my life is at risk. The Daily Beast, which of course I'm sure you all recall is the newspaper, website, gossip magazine that owns Newsweek. Newsweek that famously reported that Satoshi Nakamoto was actually not someone who was not Satoshi Nakamoto, is back stirring up the shit with this Karpellis article. What did you guys think of the Karpellis article? We'll just go through. Jamie, what did you think?
well, I'm pretty sure Mark Karpellis isn't Satoshi Nakamoto. My opinion of him is he's an asshole, and I agree with your better half, Mad Bitcoins, when he said, "Shut the fuck up."
It's the only thing to do after you've lost so much of other people's money is just shut up and leave. Like there's no one wants him back running a thing. I don't think that his thing was really popular because he was running it or the way he was running it. It just happened to be one of the first exchanges. It just got really lucky and they squandered all that luck.
It was the only game in town, basically. And yeah, when you're running a monopoly and you have something people want, where else are they going to go?
And it's sad for him because he'll never have that kind of success again, but that's how it works. You'll never have that kind of success again, Mark. Sorry about that. Theo,
And I wouldn't trust him with 25 cents to go buy me a pack of gum.
Absolutely. And certainly he's not coming back to the Bitcoin industry, to the financial industry. Theo, what do you think? Get in.
Well, I haven't read the article, so I can't comment. But I mean, just upon the headline and the general gist of it, well, yeah, his life probably is in danger. I mean, if someone saw him and they lost 500 bitcoins or 1,000 bitcoins at Mt. Gox, they might get mad and try to hurt him. I'm not encouraging violence. I don't think that they should kill him over it, but sure, he might. We don't know if someone has got a hit order out on him or something. I have no idea. I doubt it, but you never know. I think that maybe he was just kind of getting tired, and maybe he earned a little bit of money selling this little interview. That's good. Maybe that's it, because and maybe Newsweek was running out of stories, and they're like, well, what we can do? We need to run some negative FUD on Bitcoin. Let's get this Mt. Gox guy back in the news. And I always really don't like them because that lady that ran the Satoshi article, her last name is Goodman too, and I really didn't like that she did the article. So I have no relation to her whatsoever that I know of. I mean, I've never heard of her in my life. but I was really disturbed when she was, hunting down this guy, and her last name was Goodman too. But
Leo and Theo Goodman. No
yeah,
relation.
no relation. So, but I think that it's just simple. It's entertainment news. They have to get a good story, and they know Bitcoin is a good pull right now to get readers, and if they, maybe Mark Capellas called them, or they have his number or whatever. I mean, he could be doing good stuff. He could say, okay, I messed up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he could do good, actually, to be honest.
Well, he could spend the entire article talking about Bitcoin charity. He could be like, yeah, I made mistakes,
exactly.
but think about what the United Way and BitGive and Sean's Outpost are doing right now.
Right, exactly. He could be an evangelist. Every time he does one of these articles, he could plug, Sean's Outpost or something. That would be really good, or something like that. You're right. That's what he should. So if you're watching this, Mark, get on your game. If you're gonna do FUD articles, then plug some cool charities too. I mean, that's a good trade-off. Value for value. All right. FUD against plugging charities. That's a good trade, I think.
I think it's a good point, Theo, that he could be being paid. There's a definite possibility there, as well as the idea that Newsweek or the Daily Beast or whatever, someone there has Bitcoin on a list. So I wouldn't be surprised if every 2 or 3 weeks we see another sensationalist Bitcoin article from these guys. They clearly have a formula going, and hey, if it's working for them, the media thing is to continue with it. So.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, let's move on to the next story. What will it be? Boston Fed Bitcoin could be reducing online shopping costs. I keep saying that as shipping, but it's shopping. So what do you guys think? The Boston Federal Reserve says that although Bitcoin might not take off and it might not be the money of the future, it's still having an effect on online shopping, and it might be reducing costs.
They must be really smart. They're really smart people. It's amazing, the brains in those big buildings. Wow, this might make shopping a little bit cheaper. Wow, this is really amazing. I don't know. I mean, it's okay news. It's good. I mean, I guess that, like I said, they're just kind of. I am just, picturing the gears in their brain in that big building, the Boston Fed, and they're like, okay, Bitcoin, what can we use this for? Bitcoin. Oh, wait a minute. You could buy stuff online, and it would really be easy. Wow, let's write an article about that, or let's do a press release. We figured it out. I mean, but hey, baby steps. What was that? That Bill Murray movie where he's always talking about baby steps? What's the name of that? Do you remember?
What about Bob?
Yeah, right, exactly. I love that movie. Yeah. And he's always talking about baby steps, baby steps. So that's kind of like how I picture the guys in that Fed building. Baby steps, okay, baby steps, learning little by little. Okay, baby steps, baby steps. That's how they're learning about cryptocurrencies in very small baby steps.
It does seem like they're kind of from like 3 years ago, and they're just learning about this. And they're like, yeah, that'd be neat. We could pay online, and maybe later they'll think, hey, yeah, we could do some remittances, send some money around, and then they'll be, wait a minute. You can pay in a store. You can do this on your phone. Everyone has these computer phones now. Like, everything's changed. Jamie, what do you think about the Fed?
I like how definitive they are. It might.
It might help online shopping, but they know it's not going to take over. They're like, this ain't taking over. It might help online, though.
Just what inspires confidence when they come out with an official statement or anything that says it might do it.
Maybe they were just tired. They needed an article. They were like, hey, no one's paying attention to us. Hey, we know about Bitcoin too. We want to say something here. We're experts, so listen to us now.
We're experts on money and Bitcoin's money. Oops, don't say that. Bitcoin's not money. All right. Let's move on to our next story. Obama vows no ground war in Iraq. What? That's not the right headline. That's got to be from like 2003, and it says Bush. Bush vows no ground war in Iraq. Oh, no, that's not right either. Maybe Clinton. Clinton, no. Well, Clinton only sent missiles, so I guess that's probably the best we're going to have to do for right now.
Wasn't it George H.W. Bush?
H.W. Bush, no ground war? No, sorry. All of the presidents have attacked Iraq. Boy, that's funny how that keeps happening over and over again. Gosh, it's like a endless repetition of these repeats. I just can't get enough of that Iraq war. Maybe we should just stay. The next article from
guess what's going to happen when Hillary wins the election? Guess what's going to happen? Bomb Iraq. You know,
Hillary will bomb Iraq.
Bomb Iraq. You know, Bush, bomb Iraq. Clinton, bomb Iraq. Bush, bomb Iraq. Obama, bomb Iraq. Clinton again, bomb Iraq. And then maybe Jeb Bush will win after Clinton. And then it'll be like, you know, the dynasty thing, and they'll all bomb, you know, Iraq, and that whole pattern. Maybe it's like a ritual. It's a new part of that weird, you know, conspiracy theory ritualistic thing about bombing, you know, and they have to do it. They have to get on the TV. And maybe we should analyze the speeches to see if they have the same amount of syllables, and if we can, you know, find like a hash inside the numbers of the syllables or something, and figure out if there's a secret code or something. I think I saw a really weird video where they were finding really weird stuff in those public addresses, but yeah, I guess if you
that the guys are standing and probably make a triangle and stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, if you analyze anything enough, then you'll find something. It's just same thing with the charts. I mean, if you stare at that thing enough and draw enough lines, then you can, you know, predict the future or find Iraq in the candle chart or whatever. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, you would think people would notice now 4 presidents in a row bombing Iraq. Maybe people will start to notice this is a little bit fucked up. This is really basic stuff. You know, this is it's not working.
This president, while not a peace president, claimed to end the war in Iraq. He didn't promise that he wouldn't start another war in Iraq. You guys, you got to get the full thing from these guys. You got to have them write it out, because he just said he'd end it.
Well, in my opinion, I mean, it's part of a longer policy of Obama and Bush and all the others too. It's not just Obama. I don't want to say that, but I mean, okay, you got Libya. So Libya, with the help of America. So America only shot 1 or 2 Tomahawk missiles into Libya during the so-called rebellion. But the CIA is known that they supported some mercenaries in Libya during the whole thing where Gaddafi got killed and all that stuff. So that happened. And then you have all this stuff going on in Syria. And Obama said, okay, I'm going to support the so-called rebels. You know, and it just so happens that some of those rebels are pretty hardcore. Well, how can I put it nicely?
Militants?
Well, no, militants. That's okay. They have guns. They're militant. No, I mean they're not the same people as is theoretically. It's not the same team, but it's the same like group. You know, they're kind of like bees or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same, and not only that, it's the same part of the world geographically. That whole place where all this stuff is going on. It's a little circle where they, like, for some strange reason, the borders are really not controlled really well because of all this instability around Turkey, Syria, and part of Syria and Iraq. And Obama.
These aren't the original borders. These are like borders that were drawn by the British after World War I. I mean,
I agree.
There's a lot of non-geographical boundary borders going on in this area. So.
Yeah, totally. That's part of it. It's part of it to make it unstable, you know. But that whole area is unstable, and to make it even more unstable, what Clinton did when she was on the Obama administration is promote the idea to push even more weapons and support into that region. Now we're doing it again. So it's not gonna. You would think that when you do one thing and it doesn't work, that you don't do it again. But they just keep doing it over and over. So it's not only the bombing; it's also who they support. I mean, America supported Saddam Hussein when they was fighting Iran for 10 years, and he was using chemical weapons, and everything was fine. But as soon as they don't need him anymore, then they flip the script and bomb the hell out of everything. And that whole way of doing foreign policy, people should notice that's really not good.
And Eurasia has always been at war with East Asia. East Asia's never been at war with Eurasia. Forget. We've got a card sent to us from Dogecoin Las Vegas. Hello to Doge Shop. How's it going, guys? Looks like they've got an impressive, glowing, iPhone-esque costume there. Maybe it's an Android. And they're out on the streets of Las Vegas giving away the crypto. So, nice work, guys. Looks like we've got some Kiss impersonators right there. Heck of a photo. So, hello to the Doge Shop. We've also got Kiefer, who writes, all the talk about Scotland not being able to use the pound is scaremongering by the imperialists. There's nothing to stop Scotland from using the pound, just like Cuba and Argentina and Turkey use dollars. There's also nothing stopping Scotland from creating its own national fiat currency. A cryptocurrency is unlikely because the infrastructure is not in place. I agree on the last point. It is unlikely, and as much as we would like Scotland to become the Bitcoin country, it is possible they could adopt an official cryptocurrency in addition to an official
Feathercoin. They could adopt Feathercoin.
Whoa, that would change everything. Put that one out on the markets right now. Scotland to adopt Feathercoin. Someone type that into a troll box for me. Come on.
Yeah, I thought that right away when I was like, Chris, why don't you get up there and start pushing that?
It's all infrastructure based. It's just like Apple's learning with Apple Pay. The cash registers are entrenched. They're not going anywhere for a while. That's why it's so great that Apple is doing all this work for us, and even PayPal to a lesser extent with the NFCs, because you can send Bitcoin over NFC. You can send Bitcoin with a new register if it displays a QR code. It's totally easy, very doable to send. Let's see what else we got going on. I think that the question and answers is broken today, FYI. Oh, wait, it started loading. Earlier it was saying cannot connect to the server. So that's why I was not answering your questions earlier, but we do have a couple of comments from Brandon. Brandon says, per Jamie's comment, and he's got an article about the Fed, which we're going to check out. And he also said that the Fed is ending QE, quantitative easing, in October, and the Dow Jones is closing at record highs today, are 3 reasons for Bitcoin going down. So, interesting opinions from Brandon. We're checking him out. He's got this article right here about the Fed.
Makes sense.
With music. And would be quite something if they ended QE. Remember, QE is pretty much like endless loans for banks from the Fed, and they were supposed to end it last time around, and they didn't because everyone was freaking out. And they now are saying that they're going to end it again this time around, but they're saying it's next month, and that considerable time remains. It's only a month, but it's a considerable month. I don't know how they're measuring that time different from normal time. What do you think, Jamie?
They're probably going off the time difference between, California and Washington, D.C. or something. My sister thought that had something to do with the minutes on her cell phone.
They've got an extra 3 hours of quantitative easing. That'll change everything. Don't you guys worry now. QE3 got an extra 3 hours on it. So we've also got this other article that Brandon sent us. Let me go and select the question. It says the dollar reaches 14-month high as Fed boosts rate outlook. So yes, the dollar it itself has risen against all of the other currencies. So this is another good reason for Bitcoin to be in a mild decline today. So there are indicators and things outside of Bitcoin that do affect the price, and this does seem to be one of them. These are some pretty big articles. So thank you, Brandon, for sending them in. And we're going to move on to our next story, which is from CoinDesk, how Bitcoin's banking crush is holding back U.S. startups. Now, I know this from firsthand experience having spoken to Kraken about it, but there are different rules for banks in each state. So if you want to run a Bitcoin business, something complicated like a Bitcoin exchange or something simple like a Bitcoin shop, you're going to need a different bank account in each state. It's going to be hard to get. the regulations aren't clear, and the banks aren't entirely happy to deal with the Bitcoiners either. So this is a major stumbling block. Jamie, what do you think? Are businesses having problems getting banks? Is that slowing us down?
Yeah, the banks aren't real friendly towards Bitcoin businesses. The exchanging money, the U.S. government isn't real friendly towards Bitcoin either, with all the know your customer rules, and there's just a whole mess of things. I feel like a little kid when I'm trying to deal anything with the government and money. I mean, just going to the bank and trying to withdraw some of my own money out of the bank, it's like, well, you got to tell them why you want it and all this other stuff, and it's like it's none of your damn business.
It does seem like it's gone completely over the other way. Like, at one point you would keep your money in a bank so it would be safe and it would be your money, but now it's more like you keep your money in a bank so the government and the bank monitor your money, and then they complain all the time about how you're spending it, and then if you run out of money, they charge you more money, which has never made any sense to me at the bottom end of this thing. But
yeah, and then you got situations like in Europe there where for a little while they had negative interest rates. So it was like keeping your money in a storage shed that you had to pay rent on.
no interest at all, and our rates here are pretty bad. A lot of people moved into stocks and other things like that to avoid that kind of negative pressure. So we've got a couple of more stories, just kind of mentioning them, see what's going on. There's this new thing called BitNation. I think it's a really cool idea, and like everything, they have a crowd sale. So check out the BitNation crowd sale. It sounds like BitNation wanted to pretty much take care of ambassadors and have a whole system, try to kind of make a internet nation, you know? Sounds cool.
Yeah, I saw that this morning and looked at it a little bit. I don't really know. They say they want to compete with nation states, and I don't really understand quite how they're going to do that and how a crowd sale fits into that in a cryptocurrency, but I guess I'll have to read more on it.
Everyone's looking for funding these days, so everything seems to end in a crowd sale. I don't know about the sale part. It seems like a donation would just be more honest, where you're not trying to invest your donation. And we have a lot of things where people are saying, Kickstarter's not enough. Like, I donate to an art project on Kickstarter and the art project gets made. I want more than that. But really that's all there is. The art project gets made. I mean, if you get a receipt back from the art project and then you start collecting receipts from the art project and saying that the receipts have more value or less value, and they have a whole trading system trading these receipts, I mean, I guess you could do that. I'm just not sure why you would. I'm not sure why there would be continued value held in those receipts. So
what ends up happening is right after these crowd sales, there's a pump and dump trading term that happens for a little bit, and some people make a lot of money off of that, and then it all just withers away after 2 weeks anyway.
And generally, sadly, those people are not you, and they're not your friends. They're generally the people involved originally setting this up, who made sure they were ready to pump and they had the big coins, and then boy were they ready to dump. And it rarely comes back for a second pump and dump.
Yeah.
It's been pretty rough in the altcoins and the donation coins markets. But we've got a great question from James, who also told us how to reload the Q&A. Although I'm not crazy about reloading this whole window, it freezes everything. But James writes, if you want to sell muffins online, do you need licenses for each state, or is it just financial services? I might just start a business in England then. England's a good bet, but you might also want to think Finland. Another problem with your example is selling muffins is selling food, which, at least in the United States, we have an incredible number of restrictions on food, mainly to keep people safe, but also from a business perspective, it seems very onerous. So it would be a tough business to start. I'm not sure you need a license for each state. Let's change the muffins to widgets. So if you're just selling a generic widget, I think you probably would need a bank account in each state, though, to keep your funds in. If you were going to be taxed by each state, if you're making revenue there. I mean, mainly you try to stay in one state, but if you wanted to have a multi-state muffin business, oh boy, it's going to get complicated. You're going to need accountants and lawyers. It's not just like the internet where you put your shingle out and see how it goes. Jamie, what do you think about the muffin business?
Well, if it was just online, you wouldn't need to have a account in every state because it's the customer's responsibility to pay their state income tax or their state sales tax.
That's good. And you would have to check to make sure. Probably some states might have restrictions on selling muffins, much like gun businesses cannot just sell to a state that has a restriction on the longer clips or bayonets or whatever the rules are on these days. So
yeah, if I had a gun store, I couldn't sell a gun to somebody in California that held 11 rounds in the magazine compared to 10 rounds.
Absolutely, they're different, and you know that's part of the state system. Is there are indeed different laws for every state, so it is a complicated system, especially coming from England, I'd imagine. So let's see, we've got another one from Chad Crypto. He says, "Banks suck. The overdraft fees are the biggest scam. One good thing about Bitcoins: no fines, no overdrafts, and reasonably small transfer fees." So that is true. Overdraft fees are the worst. You're out of money. You're at the bottom. Maybe the bank could say, hey, we'll loan you a little money. Instead, they're like, we're going to charge you fees on the money you don't have anymore. So,
yeah,
very bummer.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's working on getting those installed with some sort of cryptocurrency out there. Because they got to make Bitcoin better, and obviously the way to make it better is to screw people when they're down.
If only Coinbase would offer that feature, the overdraft Bitcoin feature.
They're working on it.
We've also got an update on the Isle of Man situation. As you all know from watching Mad Bitcoins, the Isle of Man recently had a break with their banking partners. The company that was providing banking access to them wanted to continue, but the bankers didn't want to continue. But now we have an update that Instabill has stepped in, and it will offer merchant and banking service accounts to companies working in the Isle of Man's digital currency industry. So good news for the Isle of Man. Problem solved.
It seems so dumb. These bankers are like, well, we're not going to work with you if you do that. Well, somebody else is going to just step in and say, well, screw you guys then. Well, I'll take it.
And then the next day, somebody steps right in. I mean, there's not enough businessmen in the sea. Come on, guys. Like, if you don't do it, somebody else will. And you're right. That's going to happen over and over again with this Bitcoin.
I mean, it's the same thing with the independence of Scotland. If the Bank of England moves, screw them. Don't let the door hit them in the ass, because somebody else will be more than happy to move in and do it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Scotland could have their own Bank of Scotland with a centralized currency running in no time at all. So, and they might. They might will. I mean, it looks pretty good for them. So we'll see how it goes.
It's just a matter of if somebody wants to make a fiat currency and run a scam system, or that's the only question.
Yeah, I think that using the pound in the meantime might be a good idea if they'd let them, but since they said no, maybe using the dollar. I don't know. It's a strange option to be in.
They get euros over there too.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're looking for more independence so they can be more united into the euro, especially the way the euros went with adding Turkey and some other nations, Greece, into the euro. Not that good for the euro.
But there's not really a shortage of currencies around now.
Especially with Bitcoin. And that's the great thing. The Scots can always try Bitcoin for all their online transactions, and they could use it person to person. Though it's been a rough day today for Bitcoin. Our next story is pretty simple. 2 organizations aim to certify cryptocurrency professionals. Do you want to get a degree in cryptocurrency? Well, now you can get some kind of a degree. So it's pretty interesting. They've got the basics of cryptography, Bitcoin basics, security, mining, and of course they're charging fees. to get your degree. Sounds pretty cool. Well, look, they have it.
Did Andreas get one of those?
Andreas get one, or did he create a system? I'm not sure.
I think he got certified in one of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it would give them a lot of credibility if he did. They have a couple interviews down here at the bottom with different organizations. And
they got Blake.
Yeah, they got an opinion from Blake. Let's see what Blake says. Blake says, I feel that certifications can be good and bad. When it comes to hiring someone, a manager can get lost in titles and certifications, not properly vetting individuals. However, it is good to have some sort of organized set of information somewhere to assist people in becoming more versed in the various matters required to understand the Bitcoin protocol. So Blake's on both sides of it. I agree. It's good to have certifications, but who knows that these will be the right certifications and what kind of questions they'll ask. And even then, Blake's right. You should do your own diligence. Ask the person you're interviewing actual questions about Bitcoin before hiring, right?
Yeah. When I thought it was funny, when I interviewed for a job back in 2001, I was interviewing for a network engineer's job, and the guy that was interviewing me was a librarian, and he didn't know much, but he asked me, who is Leo Laporte? And this was in 2001, so he watched Leo Laporte on TV, and he figured if anybody was anything with tech, that they should know who the hell Leo Laporte was.
There you go, This Week in Tech, TWIT. I just barely know who he is. Barely in there. We've got another story. Roger Ver is starting a Bitcoin bounty service. As you know, Roger Ver was hacked recently, and some other Bitcoiners, Satoshi Nakamoto, were also hacked. And now he has a bounty hunter system where you can put a bounty on the hacker to catch them. Sounds pretty cool. What do you think, Jamie?
Well, I know that Roger Ver had bounties out on this before, and now it looks like he's just put up a website and stuff for it. And I don't know. I had read through that earlier too, and it looks like it could be quite a while before you collect your bounty because they're requiring proof of conviction and proof of the evidence that you were the one that had them convicted and all of that. So it could be quite difficult to actually prove that you're the one that made sure that that person was convicted, and that could make things dangerous for yourself.
It sounds a lot like that assassination market website, except that this is more acceptable. It's acceptable to be a bounty hunter for hackers. But then I'm sure there could be a Tor or a Darknet website where you're a bounty hunter for anybody. You're a bounty hunter for anything. I mean, this idea could be expanded. And because of Bitcoin or presumably future more anonymous currencies, anything could happen.
Yes.
Let's see what else we've got. Hubai has three new offerings, but I don't know what they are. Let's see what they say. Hosted mining solution, Digcoin. Oh boy, cloud mining with a perpetual hosting plan. They've also got a P2P crowdfunding platform, Dangpoo. Well, that sounds kind of cool. It's got a little piggy bank that gets coins. It's not that bad. Not sure what the third thing is because there is no... Oh, and they have a Hong Kong-based cryptocurrency trading platform called BitYes. BitYes. Well, I like that name. That's fun. Jamie, what do you think?
Yes.
Anything good from Hubai here? Just pretty standard.
I don't know. I kind of like that piggy bank is kind of a cute little thing, but the name, Dangpoo?
Well, I'm sure it means something different there, I'm sure. But to hear it's pretty funny. Dangpoo.
Yeah, it sounds like something that if your kid had an accident in his diaper or something, you know.
We've got a comment from Tony P. Tony P says, "Screw certificates. The whole point of it is proof of work."
Yeah, certificates are a pain in the ass too. I had a Cisco certificate, and it sucked.
You have to get it updated and renewed all the time. It never really lasts. It's not just like a college degree where you kind of get it, you earn it, it's done, it's yours. You have to pay anymore. But
Yeah.
unless you got the loans, then you got to pay forever. But I think we're about running out of stories here. So unless anyone has a question or a call, a last-minute Skype, anything like that, I think we're about to hit the doors here the day before the Scottish independence vote. So if you're in Scotland, of course, you still have all day tomorrow, which is really kind of today for me because I'm on the West Coast, so time zones are confusing. But feel free to vote how you feel tomorrow, Scotland. We're voting for yes here, but our vote doesn't count. Jamie, any closing thoughts?
No, I wish the best for Scotland, and I think it would be a wonderful thing if they got independence. And hopefully, there is no violence over there. And I saw one thing on their Twitter was there won't be any violence unless police start it.
And let's give some respect to Great Britain here, giving their people a chance to leave, having a democratic vote about this, nothing violent inherent. This is a choice they're offering up to Scotland. So respect, England. And let's, of course, remember the rest of the World Crypto Network. I'll be on Megan Lord's interview, Crypto Convos, a little later today on the Megan Lord's channel. Then that'll be uploaded to World Crypto Network later. So check that out on Twitter, @MadBitcoins. We'll be sending that out. We've also got World Crypto Network Book Club, which may or may not be tonight or tomorrow, depending on if Nick can get to 25% in Neuromancer. We've got William Gibson's classic cyberpunk novel coming up. And tomorrow, the Bitcoin World Crypto Network, the meeting, the public town hall meeting. So I'm sure we'll be there tomorrow. Jamie, you'll be there for the meeting probably?
Yeah, I should be around.
Sounds good. I don't know what's planned. Last week, we've got some web guys working on the web page, hoping that they might have a rough draft tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Anything else on the schedule for tomorrow? Oh, we've got Midas Marnie with interviews. Check that out on Thursday. And tonight, Bitcoin Rush. So very busy times here on the World Crypto Network.
Yeah, and you can check out our schedule on worldcryptonetwork.com and click on the schedule. And you can see the schedule that I have up on my screen right now. And everybody seems to run about 15 minutes after the hour on our shows. So,
and the only thing missing from this schedule is you. Join the World Crypto Network today. Get involved. Get in the podio. Get behind the scenes. Come to our town hall meeting tomorrow. Ask questions. Think of your own show ideas and start doing them. Got to be a self-starter. You got to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah, and if you want to be on the World Crypto Network and want some help getting started, I have a show on Tuesdays specifically to help people, and we're not charging anybody anything for it or anything. We want to get people to have their own shows. So if you want some help and want a backup host or whatever, we're there to help.
Yeah, check it out. Tuesdays, the beta show. And until next time, this has been Bitcoin Talk Show. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.